All right. Welcome back, everyone, and good morning to you all. I welcome us to lesson two. Um, okay, so how many of us actually went through the worksheet? How many of us passed through the worksheet? Just indicate from the chat room. Wow, beautiful. Beautiful. I can see some of us went through the worksheet. It means we are fully done with lesson one. So this is today we are going to be building on that momentum. Okay, we're going to go to the next lesson, which is the lesson two. And in this lesson two, what we're going to be talking about is a very important topic in cybersecurity. So, what is the topic all about? It's what we call the human firewall. And we're going to be discussing mainly on password security and MFA. What's MFA? Multi-factor authentication. So I want you to always know that strong systems fails when human fails. So we're going to dive into it immediately. So before I dive into it, I want to ask us a question, and I want us to answer this question honestly because is what is we're here to learn. We're here to correct ourselves. I know that some people want to not answer the question, but I want you to answer this question. I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to be true to yourself. Now, now I want to ask you. I want to ask every one of us here. I want to ask us, how many accounts do you think that an average person has? How many accounts do you think an average person has? Just put the answer in the chat room. Just put the answer in the comment section. How many accounts do you think an average person has? Now, by the end of this meeting, we're going to be explaining why weak password fails. That is the first I'm going to be explaining because there's what we call, we all know what password is. So there's what we call the weak password. Why does it fail? We're going to explain that. We're going to understand how attackers obtain passwords. We're going to also know how to create a strong password. And we're going to understand MFA, multi-factor authentication. So finally, we're going to demonstrate safe credential behaviors. Now, linking to that same question I asked you earlier, I want to ask every one of us, how many passwords do you think you have? Just give me a rough sketch. Is it 5 to 10? Is it 20 to 40? Is it 50, like above 50? Or you have no idea? Give me give me the answer on the comment section. Give me your answer on the comment section. All right. Now, one thing you're going to know is that most people manage up to 80 to 20 accounts averagely. Based on the last question I asked, how many accounts do you think you have? That is the truth. Most people have 80 to 120 accounts. There are different kind of accounts. What do I mean by accounts? When some people, because this question I asked, it might be confusing you. You might be thinking that I'm talking about bank accounts. No. When I say account, account means email, social media, school system, banking, all these things, anything that has to do with you signing up to an app. That is an account. Shopping, streaming, whatever it is. As long as it has to do with you signing up either to an app or to a website, that is an app. That is an account. So how many accounts do you think you have signed up to? Whether website, whether applications, whatever it may be. How many do you think you have signed up to? Most people, an average person, average up to 80 to 120 accounts. Yes. So have you seen that each of these accounts you have, most people are not even aware, they have no idea. But are you aware that each of these accounts you have has to do with password? That's why you see this topic is very important. Password. Each of these accounts has to do with password. Because you cannot get any account without a password. What is a password? Before I get to that, I'm going to give us a scenario. Imagine you have a house, a building. Definitely, you cannot just stay in the building like that. Just the building will just be left opened. No, there must be a lock. There must be an access, and that access of that house. Why is there an access? So that someone can come in and go in. But because of people can come in and go in anytime, anyhow, you don't know when someone bad will come in. So what do you need to do? You need a security, a key, so that not everyone can come in and go in. That is what that key, that's what password is. So it now protects you that anyhow person cannot just come in and go in because it's now secured and only those that have the key that can go in. So a password is just like a digital key. It protects who can enter an account and who can and what they can do. So it is directly linked to the last lesson one we talked about the pillars of cybersecurity. That is the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, in the confidentiality aspect, that is where password falls in because only authorized people should see our information. Now, that is why it's only those that is why password fall into that category that protects your confidentiality. So a password must prove your identity. A password is something that only you are the one, only you has. You're the only one that has it. So that's why it shows that you're the one, you're the owner of the account. That's it identifies that this is the owner of this particular account. If it's easy to guess based on things everyone knows about you, then that is that depends on the kind of password. We'll get back to this. Now, a password is a password is also sorry for this. Now there is I want to talk about how something affects us. What can you see on the screen? One password, many doors. Now, what does it mean? Imagine you have one key. I don't give us this scenario because I asked a question earlier. How many people has knows how many accounts they have? Most people don't even have an idea. Some people have a rough idea in their head. Whatever it may be, there is a problem that most of us have already made. There's a mistake that most of us have already made, which I'm going to tackle now at this moment. Now, what is that mistake? It says that most people have just one key. Let's assume you have in a building you have up to 20 rooms in that building, and you made it that it's only one key that can access all the rooms, all the doors, all the 20 doors. Do you know what you have done? You thought you have maybe the stress of getting different keys or something. You are thinking that you have made work easier for you. But guess what? You have put yourself in a bigger danger. Why have you put yourself in a bigger danger? Because once someone steals that particular key, automatically that person has unlocked all the doors in the house. That person has unlocked all your accounts. Once the person has access to that password, it means the person has access to all your accounts. So what does it mean? If one password is reused, attackers may unlock many accounts. So in fact, all these people that are hacking, if they get one of your password, in fact, most people from there they've lost a lot of things because they used to get in because they know how people operate. Most people don't even want to go, don't want to stress themselves. So because of this now, just know that it's wrong having one password for different accounts. I want us to listen to this. I want us to read this on the screen and read it and stick to your head. What does it say? Technology can be strong, but human behavior can still break security. Can you imagine? No matter how strong technology is, in fact, technology is strong, not it can be strong. It's very strong. But the issue is that human behavior can still break the security. And that is what these hackers are using. They cannot even challenge the way technology has updated in this period. Today, our world today, technology is so strong that if it's left for only technology, there will not be anything like cyber crime. But because of human behavior, we still have cybercrime increasing. I've talked about, just for example now, what I'm talking about now. There is something called password, but guess what? Because of human behavior, they are lazy. They cannot, they cannot even, they cannot even be creative. They cannot even be, they just want to make things easy. That's why they will have one password for multiple accounts. That is a very bad behavior, and it gives hackers advantage. So people are the first line of defense. That is it. No matter how technology is strong, people must be the first line of defense. So there are common password mistakes that we make. I've already talked little about it. What are the password mistakes? Like I said, I've talked little about it, but I'll just list them. Now, the first one is what reusing passwords, like what I've said. Avoid reusing your password. Short password, another mistake. Remember, I said today is a day that you're going to learn. It might not be, you might see that you have made a lot of mistakes, but don't count it as if you have made a mistake. Count it as if you are here to learn. Whatever mistake you have made, that is the past. But as from today, whatever thing you are learning, you put it into practice. So, short passwords. Most people they don't want to easily forget and they just use something short. Predictable patterns. Things are very predictable. Most people thought that they are, well, that they have a good password choice. Meanwhile, they're just very predictable. Someone can just predict what you are using, what you're going to use. Another mistake is what? You share your password. You share your password. You want to, maybe you are somewhere in a meeting and someone that, because of you know the person, you call the person your friend, you just trust the person and you tell the person, okay, please access for me my social thing, maybe your bank account or whatever it is, and you tell the person your password. You just tell the person your password. There's an issue. That's a mistake. Avoid it. No matter what it is. Avoid sharing passwords. Now the reason why is not as if you don't trust the person, but something you already shared is now public. Even if your friend goes against you, just know that password is no longer unique. It's not, forget about it. As long as someone has known the password, someone has had it, it's no longer unique. So another issue is another mistake is what? Writing password insecurely. When you write password in an unsecured space, insecurely, when you maybe in a wrong website, in a scam website, you write password. Just don't put your password anywhere. Don't write it anywhere. Or you wrote your password on your book so you don't forget it. It's wrong. So now we're going to look at some password, some kind of password that is mistakes, some common mistakes. Now we have talked about what can make a password look like a mistake. Now look at some of these passwords. Look at how people um arrange their password that is wrong. Some people their password is password, and they are thinking that they are unique, or maybe they're thinking that they are thoughtful by thinking of using password. At least most people will not even think of using password. Most people can never. In fact, most people they might feel like most people are not aware that they will use password. But the same way you're thinking, thousands of other people are thinking the same thing. That's why you see this is a very weak password. Some people use password as their password. Some people use this number mostly because they don't want to stress themselves and to remember the password, and they use just one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. These are password mistakes. Some people just use a keypad pattern. Maybe it can depend on the keypad pattern you're using. But they just use a keypad pattern so it to be easier for them to remember. It can be QWERTY, it can be whatever your keypad pattern is. Depend. Some people use this. All these are mistakes you make in choosing a password. I know it's going to be sounding surprising to you. Some people use this, something like this. Now, what do these have? What does this password? I want somebody to just tell me what all these passwords I listed, all these mistakes I make, what do they have in common? What do they have in common? Just write it on the comment section. What do all these passwords have in common? It's simple. What they have in common is simple. They are short, they're not long. They're not unique. They're not even random. They're predictable. So these are the things they have in common. Because whatever you see here, it's something that somebody can predict. Most people can predict they are going to use one of these. So now, what does it mean? Attackers know human pattern already. See this dimension here? This is a pattern, and there are many more. I just had to just break it down. And all these pattern you see, the same way I know it, it's the same way most people know this pattern. Most especially attackers, they are so smart. They are aware of human pattern. They know that humans don't want to stress themselves. They are aware that most human will want to use a simple password. So they know that most people, their pattern is their name as their password. Maybe they'll write name and number and their year of birth. If your name is Victor, you write Victor 2004. Can be your password. And yeah, and you think that you're doing a good job. Instead, what are you doing? You are giving attackers the advantage to attack your data. I've just said it better. Most people use it's very predictable. These are human patterns that are already known. Most people use their sports team. I'm a fan of Chelsea, and their passport is Chelsea. So once an attacker just figure out that this guy is a Chelsea fan, you can also guess, and you have gotten it. So attackers use simple keyboard pattern, just like what I said, QWERTY, depending on what a keyboard pattern is, and many more. So these are human pattern that attackers know already. It's not as if they don't know. These are things that is already everywhere. So predictable passwords are, in fact, they are the easiest targets for attackers. They're the easiest targets for attackers. So it means that most people here listening to me are the easiest targets for attackers. Now, let's talk about password reuse again. Now, if the same password protects multiple accounts, something happens. If there's a breach somewhere, that one breach exposes everything. Now, what does it mean? For example, let's assume you have an email account, and that email account you use your password, Victor 2004, and you're happy it's a strong password. Let's assume it's even a strong password or it's a weak password, whatever it is, and use that same password for your banking app, and use the same password for your cloud storage. Now, this is what I still said the first time, but I'm trying to break it down for you now. Now, what's going to happen? If there is a breach and they have and your password has been exposed, let's say this Victor 2004 has been exposed through your email, guess what? The attackers automatically gotten access to your bank, to your cloud, whichever app that has that same password. It has already been attacked. So, what is it telling you? The same thing I said. Avoid password reuse. I know why I repeated this. I purposely repeated this in this lesson because most people don't see the use of repeating their password. Even if you have a very strong password, if your password is pass all the tests, all the qualities of a strong password, you still don't have the go ahead to reuse your password, or you're putting yourself at risk. So avoid reusing your password. Now, this data breach I'm talking about, what is this data breach I'm talking about? It can be what occurs. Now, a data breach occurs when attackers access stored account data. So when an attacker access, that's why you see most attackers, they don't even need to ask your password physically from you. They just look for a way to get access to your data, to your account data. It can be through a website, it can be through a link you click, whatever way there is a data breach. And from there, your password can be leaked. Your password can be leaked. So if short passwords fail, now at this point we're talking about the risk of having short password. Now if short password fails, then what works better? What is now the solution? Out of everything I'm saying about password, whether your short password, whether the using of password, whatever I'm talking about password, most people are scared now. Most people have seen that they need to they have been doing the wrong thing when it comes to password. So now the problem is, what is now the solution? What is better for us to do now? What is the correction we should take now? That is why we are here. Okay? So, what is the solution now? Now I'm going to show you how to make a strong password. Now, what makes a strong password? Here in the Nebula Academy, we are not just focused on teaching you or on passing for just theory. Everything we do is practical, so that when you do it, you don't just hear it, but you apply it. So why am I saying this? As long as Nebula Code Academy, whatever I'm telling you on how to make a strong password, listen to the sound of my voice. You have to implement it. You have to implement it. It's not just for you to hear. Whatever I'm saying here is not just for you to listen and be happy or be surprised, but it's for you to listen and practice. So, what is a strong password? What makes a strong password? Now, there are four things that makes a strong password. The first one is what? The length of the password. Second one is what? The complexity of the password. Third one is what? The randomness of the password. Fourth one is what? The uniqueness of the password. So let's look at it one after the other. The length of the password. Now, short passwords are easy to use, easy to brute force. Now, what it means is that short passwords are easy to guess, because most hackers, they the way they hack accounts is through guessing. Maybe this is the easiest way they hack accounts, through guessing. Maybe through some combination, they'll be mixing different combinations till they get the password. And if your password is short, you give them more chance for you to get, for them to get your combination. Imagine your password is just Victor 2024, and they are doing different combination, and finally it's not even, combination is just like the number of, they already arrange all the numbers of combination they need. They'll try this, try this, try this. So imagine the combination need to be up to 1,000 combination before they get your password. Somebody can try 1,000 combination within days, or even less than a day. But imagine you have a combination that is up to 1 billion. They have to try different combinations up to 1 billion times before they get your password. Do you think this is ever possible in this life? No. That's why length of, that's why there's a saying that says, the longer your password, the harder it is to guess. Now, the minimum number recommended is 12 characters for a password. Now, if you're, remember I'm teaching you how to get a strong password. If you know your password, in fact, for it to be better, 14 to 16 characters. If you know your password is not up to 14 to 16 characters, you need to, you need to have a correction now. That is the first step. Make sure your password is minimum of 14 to 16 characters. Now, the next one is what? The complexity of the password. The password don't have to just be long, even though when you have a long password, you have done like 50% of the job, but it has to be complex. It has to be complex. How do I mean it has to be complex? They have to have a lot of combinations. Uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols. A strong password uses a mixture of all this. Don't just use just long numbers and you say you have a long password. It's going to take more time to get, but when it's complex, you like double the time of guessing it. So make sure you don't just use only letters for your password. In fact, that's why even the technology we have today, most accounts, most websites, they don't accept you just using just a single character, maybe only just letters or only just lowercase as your password. They must be a mixture before they accept that password. So most people are aware of this, multi-complex. Now, the next is what? Randomness. Now, let it be a random password. Remember I'm showing you, I'm taking my time to explain the steps of how to have a strong password. Even if the only thing you're going to learn today is how to have a strong password, I know you're going to have learned something. Now, the next one is randomness. Avoid having anything that is attached to your identity as a password. In fact, if you have a password now, currently, and that password is something that can be attached, that can be used to identify you, maybe your name, your date of birth, your whatever thing that is identified to you that can be used to identify you, is a wrong password. You're wrong. What do you have to do? Let it be random. Let it be something that they cannot even use. Nobody can even think that this can be what you are using as your password. Now, another part of randomness is what? Repeated patterns. You are using repeated patterns. Let's say you have to use a password and maybe you have to use a number. You're putting repeated pattern 1, 2, 3. No, that is what is randomness also. Randomness also, word like password, I love. These are things that even though it's not attached to you, but they are not random. It's things that people can still guess that you used. Now, while you're running away from things that is used to identify you, still run away from things that is predictable. It's still part of randomness. It's still under randomness. Password. You're looking for how to create a password, and the password you're using things that is easy to get. Jesus, like I gave example, Jesus, football, whatever it is. All these things are not random. So make sure you change, you stop it. So how do you hit the randomness? How do you achieve this randomness? Use a phrase mostly that does not look at something. I use this green tiger 92, green tiger approach 92. Now, why did I use green tiger? There's nothing, does not have a meaning. Green tiger, in fact, it's just a random word. Green tiger, does it have a meaning? No, but it's a strong password. So instead of using Jesus is Lord number 92, use something like this green. Nobody can ever, it increase the chance of guess, it reduces the chance of guessing. So these are different examples I'm giving. So the final one is what? Uniqueness across websites is what I've explained already. Now, don't reuse your password across different websites. So these are the 4 things that help to create a strong password. I guess from these 4 things I've said, each and every one of us listening to my voice can create 100% strong, what is required as a strong password. Most of the things you are calling strong password, you have seen it now that those are not strong password. So you have seen that from what I've explained now, I believe each and every one of us can create a strong password. We're going to get to that in our work. Now, um, let's talk about passphrases. What is passphrases? Passphrase is a long password made of several words plus symbols and numbers. Now, why am I talking about passphrase? Because when I explain how to make a strong password, most strong password is what is, you cannot talk about strong password if you don't understand what a passphrase is. So a passphrase is the example of a strong password. So that phrase, it's not just, remember I said it has to be long. You cannot just use one word and call it a password. That's why it's what we call phrase. Phrase is like, can be a sentence, can be combination of different words. So that is why we call it a passphrase. Just understand how passphrase is and why it's powerful. Because it's long, definitely, and in Bible say you need a long password, and if it's long, it's harder to crack. It's easy to remember than random characters. Now instead of you to just make it a long password, and by just writing different numbers, different letters, just let it be long. No, let it be a phrase so it can be easy to remember. It can be easier to remember for your brain. So just like blue lion runs fast. This is a phrase, but nobody can ever guess this. This is an example of a strong password. No one can ever guess this. No one can ever predict this. So that is it. Now, hackers know people are using simple words, but if your passphrase is long, unique, and not based on your personal info, don't forget your personal info. Once it's based on your personal info, it's easy for them to get you. It becomes extremely difficult to guess. Now, you can use password managers to get it also, to save your password. So let's move to our lab exercise. And this particular lab exercise is focused on password strength ranking. Now we're going to do this exercise shortly in this class. We are going to have this exercise shortly in this class. So what are you going to do? It's simple. It's simple. It's simple. You're going to, I'll give you 10 passwords. And your task for it is what? First of all, rank it from the weakest to the strongest. Okay? And when you do that, you explain your reasoning. Why do you say this is the weakest? Why do you say this is the strongest? Why do you say this is the second weakest? Why do you say this is the second strongest? Whatever it is, you explain them. Then you also identify the common mistake in these passwords. So that's what we're going to do shortly. If you are following this class till this session, I want you to just reply this on the comment section. Just all these 10 passwords I've written now I've displayed on my screen. Just list it from the least to the highest on the comment section. Just use the next 1 minute to do that. Use the next 1 minute to do that. Use the next 1 minute to do that. Okay. Good, 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 good. I can see. All right. So now I'm going to, from what I've taught, I can say that the strongest password is this. Um, is this seventh one, number seventh. That's the strongest password. Coffee, river, laptop, sunlight. Now, why is it the strongest password? Because of what? Obviously, it passed most of the qualities of a strong password. Firstly, it's long, it has a length. Secondly, it's a bit complex because it has also some characters, this hyphen. So I think that's just the and thirdly, it's random word. It's a random word. It's not something that is tied to an identity or something. That's like the strongest for among the 10. Then the weakest, I think I'll just give you the strongest and the weakest. The remaining can be in between them because of time. You can do that and you can submit it through our website. So the weakest is going to be number 2, which is an a which is a number that have pattern 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is obviously the weakest because this is the easiest to guess. Not going to even take someone up to an hour, 30 minutes to even crack this password. If this is your password, that is a very weak password. So that is the weakest. So the remaining can be in between and you can trace it from there. Now, let's move to the next thing I'm going to talk about before we round up this lesson for today. We're going to talk about MFA, which is multi-factor authentication. So, what is this multi-factor authentication and what's the importance? So, multi-factor authentication is a critical security mechanism that protects your account by requiring two or more different factors of authentication, just to prove that you are the one that you are who you say you are to a system or to authenticate yourself. Now, what does it mean? This is where technology brought in an advanced method whereby you want to sign into your account, which any account you have, and you already input your password. But they did not agree. They didn't allow you to access the data. They said putting your password is not enough. You are just trying to identify that you are the owner of this account. But for us to be sure that you are who you say you truly are, let's have a second authentication to be sure you are this person. And that is why there is what we call multiple factor authentication. So that is the meaning of multi-factor authentication. It says that your password is not enough. That is what MFA says. It says that your password is not enough for us to know that to give you access to this. We have to use more ways, more mechanism, more security to authenticate that you are truly the person that has this. So your password is helpful, but you need to have a second way of authenticating this, or third way, as the case may be. So enabling multi-factor authenticator makes your account significantly secured. So talking about cybersecurity today, talking about password and multi-factor authentication, I gave you a scenario of your house. So imagine you want to keep your house well secured. And the best thing that somebody can do for himself in this world today is to be 100% secured. Your house might just have a little key, just one key, and someone can just break into it and have access to your house. But imagine someone break into the first key and he sees more things he has to break into. They will get to a point that it will be difficult. He can give up. And that's what MFA is. Enabling MFA make your account significantly more secured. So there are different categories of MFA. Why it's helpful. Now, why is MFA? Why is MFA important? Why is it powerful? Because this is the most powerful way of securing your data, your account. Now there are different categories. The first one is what? This is an authentication by knowledge. So this is where where you're required to authenticate your account by something you already know. So when they say something you already know, it's most likely your password, because you're the only one that know your password, your PIN, pattern, whatever it is to unlock your phone. Some people use pattern. Something you already, something you know. You're the only one that know how to draw those patterns. So there are other ways of that fall into this category, that this authentication by knowledge. So whatever thing that fall into something that you know, something that is learned, like I know this password, I know this pattern, you learned this pattern, just know that that is authentication by knowledge. And there's a different category of authentication, which is authentication by ownership. That is where you now have authentication by something that you have, something that you own. For example, a security key. There's something there's what we call security key. Some system use it. It's like a USB you just insert. So you're the one that own that key. An app, authentication. There's also something that's called an authentication app. That app is owned by you. There's also phone, a SIM card. It can be also something that is owned by you. Authentication by ownership. A SIM card also is owned by you. A phone, authentication by phone, is owned by you. That is what is authentication by ownership. Anything that is authentified, or anything that is authenticated rather, through um through what you own, it falls into this category. Now, the last but not the least is authentication by characteristic. There's authentication by who you are, something that you are, something that you do. Now, this is where it now boils down. I think this is one of the best, because this one, the knowledge on you learnt it, the ownership on you got it, you have it physically or digitally. Someone can collect it, someone can access it. But when it's something that you are, nobody can be what you are. For example, your voice. There's some digital, like some devices that use voice. Fingerprints. You all know most devices use fingerprints. Some laptop, some mobile phone, some smartphone. Face recognition. All these are things that you are. Nobody can. When you're talking about face recognition, nobody can be my face. Nobody can have the same face I have. In fact, even identical twins. Maybe I've just, in fact, since my life in the whole world, I think it's just once I've had that twins, a twins face ID. They are a single face ID for the Apple device worked for the twins, the identical twins. But most identical twins doesn't work like that. So you are the only one that own it. Fingerprint. So these are the examples of it. So that is how um, this MFA is important. So you can use any of these that fall under this category as your authentication, as your multi-factor authentication. So there are types of authentication. There is what we call the SMS. Now, under these categories I listed, under these three categories, I'm just going to be randomly listing the ones that is mostly used the most. This one I'm giving now is the most common types of MFA, multi-factor authentication. First one is what? SMS code, that is OTP. So they will send an OTP through SMS, through your SIM card. Can be a 6 digit code. It's the easiest, but most of the times is not the strongest, because sometimes the attackers, they intercept this, they intercept the SMS. That is advanced, but this is one of the MFA, multi-factor authentication. Another one is email codes, and this is when a code is sent to your email, inbox. This is better. Also, we have authenticator app, and these are app that Google has the app, Microsoft have their app. So there are different authentication app. Now, the app constantly generates fresh code every 30 seconds, constantly, non-stop. So when you're using that authentication, they just tell you, because it's by ownership, that because you know that it's something that you own. You see where why you see this the sense behind this. They are aware that this is something that you own. So as long as you own it, you must know the exact code that was generated at that point in time of that password coming, of you requesting to sign in. So they'll tell you, okay, the code that is showing in that app now, just input it. Since you're the one that owns the app, you're with the app right now, with the authentication app, show us. So that is the advantage of authentication app. And the next one, biometrics, fingerprints, face ID, easy to use, but must be combined with other factors for very sensitive accounts. So that is it. So as I'm rounding up, I'm going to leave you with some professional account security habits. Some people have very bad habits online. Some people have very bad habits with their accounts. And like I said from the beginning of this meeting, you don't have to feel bad, because whatever mistake you have made in the past is going to be, you're just here to learn, to correct the mistake, not to hate yourself. So if you have bad habits, I'm going to correct your bad habit to a good habit, to a professional or a good habit. So the first one was, like I said, use unique password. Use unique password. Avoid using same password. Reusing your password. Avoid it. Make sure your password is unique. Secondly, enable multi-factor. Now, most people don't even know that there's something that is enabling multi-factor. Most people are not aware. Go to whichever account, all the account you have. There will be the part you're going to see where you can, where you can enable that. Mostly in the settings, the security settings, they will show you. They will ask you. Some apps are already automatically MF automatically using MFA. Some apps need you to grant that permission. So what do you need to do? You go there and make sure you enable MFA. Make sure you enable multi-factor authentication. The next one is what? Use passphrases. Make sure you don't use because you want your password to be long. You just use a word that is not existing, so it can be up to 25 letters, characters, or something. Just instead of using that, just use passphrases. It's easier to memorize. Next one, never share any OTP. No company can ever um, can never instruct you to share an OTP. So don't even think of doing that. Any company that will instruct you to share the OTP, don't even accept. Ignore them. Next one is what? Verify suspicious login alerts. Now, most device, when there's a suspicious login alert, some people overlook it. They notify you already. There's a suspicious login alert. Some people feel like maybe it's just an error or something. Most of the times it's not. It's just an error actually. Yes, but make sure you verify to be sure if this is the same usual error or if someone is truly trying to access your account. So with that being said, I draw the meeting to a close. So what have we talked about today? We summarize. So what are the things we talked about today? We talked about password. It's not just a random word you type. It's the front door to your entire digital life. That is the major thing we learned today. Password is not just something you just do randomly. This is what most people see password as before now. But now you've understood that password is like a front door to your entire digital life. So if your password is bad, you don't invest your 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 common sense in doing your password, you end up being a victim. So if you leave this lesson today, as I'm ending this lesson today, the first thing you should do, just two things. Firstly, change your weak password to strong ones. Have they taught you how to create a strong password? Now, this is an assignment, and the next lesson, I'm going to make sure that I ask how many of us have done this. I'm glad that I've taught you how to have a strong password. In fact, is so everybody in this meeting can create a strong password. In fact, they can access a password to know if it's strong or not based on the rules I give. So what's your job? Create a strong password. Change your weak password to a strong password. And secondly, turn on MFA for at least, even though you cannot do it for all your accounts, because remember I say everybody have 80 to 120 accounts. You must not do it to all your accounts because some accounts are not, but at least for your email and for your email, for your banking, and for your social media apps. So these are the most important apps that you account that you need to turn on your MFA, and it's an assignment. So with this, you have already made a huge step in your cybersecurity journey. Congratulations once again, Nebula Coders, for being in this level of this module 4, lesson 2. If you stay to this point, comment on the comment section. Just type on the comment section, enable MFA. Just type in the comment section, enable MFA today. Enable MFA today. And with that, I bring this lesson to an end. I remain your humble tutor for this lesson, for this module, Kenechukwu Okoye. See you in the next level. Please, the password to this particular exam, because there will be as usual, there is an exam. So I'm going to display the password. So if you're coming at this time, you're coming at this time, you're coming at this time, there is a there's a password. There's a if you stay to this point, it means that just like the culture of the Nebula Academy, there is always a worksheet. So the worksheet is already available. You after this meeting, you just go and access the worksheet and submit it. And the exam is also the next. So with the exam, you're going to still need my password for the exam. You're going to still need my password for the exam. So I'm going to display the password now. So it means that it's only those that are in this meeting that can access the password, that can access the exam. So if you don't attend this meeting, you can't access the exam. So now, from what you're going to see now, you're going to make sure you screenshot it. Make sure you screenshot it. Make sure you screenshot it. So this is the password for the exam, for your lesson 2 exam. So use this password, access the exam, and see you in the next lesson. Congratulations in your journey of cybersecurity. Bye for now.